Hello and welcome to the Warcraft Academy guide to Immerseus, the first boss in Throne of Thunder. This fight involves repeatedly killing the boss and then destroying his adds as he attempts to reform himself. It's tuned to be very easy and not very complicated. If you only want a summary of the fight, use the menu at the top to skip to the end, otherwise keep watching. There are two main phases to the fight, the DPS phase and the split phase. The boss does not die when his health reaches 0. Instead, the boss has a resource bar that represents his corruption, which starts at 100, and when it reaches 0, the fight is over. In the DPS phase, your goal is to simply burn the boss down. He has a frontal cone attack called Corrosive Blast that will one-shot non-tanks and requires a tank swap after every cast. The cone is fairly large, so tanks should be stood at max healing distance away from the raid. You can either have your tanks stood on opposite sides of the raid and taunt off each other, or have them simply run in and out of your raid and always tank in the same position, which may make it easier for healers to be in range. He'll constantly be spawning sharp pools underneath every player, which do damage if stood in, so you'll need to be constantly readjusting your position. From time to time he'll cast Swirl, which causes him to pick a point in the room and shoot a jet of water at it, and he'll then start to slowly spin around and do damage to anyone that passes through the beam. You simply need to keep running to avoid this. Whilst this is casting, many more pools of water will appear and move around the floor. They'll do damage and knock you into the air if they touch you. For the burn phase, have most of your raids slightly spread out near the entrance, given enough space to readjust for the pools, and have your tank off to the right or left of the raid for the corrosive blasts. When the boss's health reaches 0, he'll enter his split phase. In this phase, the boss will disappear and adds will spawn all around the edges of the room. The adds will move towards the centre of the room, and when they get there they'll explode and deal damage to the whole raid. There are two types of adds that will spawn. Sharp puddles are hostile adds that must be killed. You can stun them or grip them to stop them from moving whilst you kill them, and when they die, anyone within a few yards gains a stacking damage buff and takes damage. The damage buff does not last long enough to be meaningful, so you don't need to worry about it. You will get one sharp puddle add for every 4 corruption that Immerseus has remaining when he enters the split phase. The other type of add you'll get are contaminated puddles. These are friendly adds that must be healed to full. The more you heal them, the slower they move, and when healed to full, nearby players gain a healing buff and have some mana restored. These adds can be healed with raid-wide effects such as Tranquility, Divine Hymn, Revival and Halo. You get one contaminated puddle for every 4 corruption that has been cleansed from Immerseus. This means that as the fight goes on and the boss's corruption gets lower, you'll get fewer sharp puddles and more contaminated puddles, so it'll be increasingly important to use strong healing cooldowns during the later split phases. For the split phase, you should have your DPS and healers split evenly around the room and attempt to kill and heal as many adds as you can. You should be ready to adapt if there are no adds in your area, and freely use stuns to stop them moving. Make sure everyone has a healer in range of them because the damage in the split phase can be quite high. Once all the adds are dead or reach the boss, he reforms and the damage phase restarts, although the boss will have less health each time. Simply repeat this until his corruption reaches 0 and you win. As long as you avoid the puddles and the swirl and spread properly to kill the adds using cooldowns appropriately, this fight is very straightforward. To sum up, tank the boss facing away from the raid with the tanks on either side, taunt after Corrosive Blast, dodge the pools on the ground and the swirls, dodge the water beam, when his health reaches 0 and the split phase begins, spread out and kill the hostile adds and heal the friendly adds.